Hello and welcome back to the Energy Connect studio at Gastech 2024 in Houston. I'm delighted to have sitting next to me in the studio today, Ivana Jemelkova, the CEO of Hydrogen Council. Ivana, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. To start off, what are your thoughts on the role of hydrogen as an essential enabler of the energy transition?
Look, hydrogen has a key role to play in the energy transition. It is not a silver bullet. It is not the only solution, but we really do see it as a critical enabler and contributor to the fundamental change that we are driving in the energy system. And the benefits span climate, which we have been talking about the most, but other aspects too. We are really looking at impacts on efficiency, on resilience, and those are really important in the immediate, not only looking at the 2050 trajectory.
And that brings me to the latest report from Hydrogen Council that you just launched a couple of days ago at Gastech.
That's right. So we're really excited to be here and share the latest data and the latest insights from the industry. Our Hydrogen Insights 2024 looks at the global state of play. And as we discussed earlier, there are some good news, which we're very excited about. And there are, for sure, sobering realities, which I think we have to be very aware of and very clear-eyed. If I can...
Let's hear the good news first.
Yes. I just wanted to get in there. So let me pick one. Good news. We continue to see growth in terms of project announcements, which is fantastic. But to me, the most interesting and exciting thing is happening under the surface. So what we're seeing is that clear shift from press releases, ideas, PowerPoints to project execution. So that growing maturity of that pipeline, we are now looking at real shift into FEEDs, into FIDs, and especially the FID bit is very, very interesting. We've been tracking since 2020, so we have really good data on the last 4 years. And what we have really seen is a sevenfold growth in FID, sevenfold growth to now $75 billion in committed capital. So that's real projects, real investments. It's working, and we have that literal proof that it's really moving. In just the last 6 months, we've seen a 92, I believe, percent growth in FID. So it's picking up pace, it's moving, and it's very real, which I think is again exciting.
So what are the sobering thoughts?
Where shall we begin? Look, I mean, the broader context is that things are not going that well for the energy transition. We are not moving fast enough to meet net zero, and that is true for the energy transition at large, and that is certainly true for hydrogen as well. So facing macroeconomic headwinds, facing issues with inefficient or lacking regulation. Hydrogen Council was founded in 2017. Around the 2020s, we saw that massive surge in the national hydrogen strategies. We are 4 years in, 3 years in, 2 years in some cases, and we are seeing that massive effort to really implement legislation, but in some cases it's missing. We are here in the US 2 years post-IRA, and we still don't have the rules for 45V. And we really see in our reports the direct line from policy to project execution, where policy is effective and efficient, projects are flying. Where policy is missing, we're really seeing that chunk of projects sort of waiting at the FID line, waiting to get over the FID line, but it's not working just yet. So I think it's interesting because we have in many ways normalized the hydrogen conversation. We have normalized, brought in a little bit of calm. It's not that frenzy of the 2070s or so. But we really need to now do the work. That's perhaps a little less glamorous kind of work, less headlines, but more execution.
And that's an excellent point that you made about normalizing the conversation. And now it's the phase of getting to the trenches and getting the job done.
That's exactly right. We need to roll up our sleeves and someone joked with me yesterday, keep calm and keep deploying.
Yeah. In that process of deploying and looking forward, what other sort of challenges do you foresee in terms of macroeconomic factors, and how can companies and the industry do more to sort of make sure that there are no project delays and that they're in alignment with their climate goals?
It's a great question, and really I think we see three key priorities. One is that regulation, we just talked about it, those effective, efficient incentives that we know have made such a big difference for other technologies historically, solar, wind. I mean, it did not happen organically. It was pushed. It was pushed with government incentives, government mandates, government targets in different parts of the world. So we really need to keep working on the regulatory aspect. Second one to me would be demand side visibility. So that matching of that demand and supply, items such as, or examples such as the contracts for difference in Japan, in Korea, in other parts of the world are really providing that matching between what's happening on the supply side and what's happening with offtake. And that's extremely valuable and again, clearly driving uptick in project execution. We're really seeing that in our data. And then the last one I would mention, and that is where Hydrogen Council plays a key role, is to effectively align on a language or an approach that we use when talking about hydrogen and when creating a global market. Right now we're seeing so much fragmentation in terms of, even how we describe hydrogen, how we describe, measure, value its attributes, its environmental attributes. So for example, this notion that we need to focus on carbon and carbon intensity as opposed to the different colorways and different pathways and go into those rabbit holes. So aligning on that common language, that standardization that needs to occur so that we can start, really thinking globally about the flows of hydrogen. I think that's a huge priority as well. Thankfully, we're making good progress. We made some big announcements at COP28 last year, and really, again, rolling up our sleeves and getting things done.
And in that process, I think going back to your positive assessment about the FIDs, to keep that momentum going, and make sure that investment pipeline is maturing, what needs to be done?
Well, I would again reiterate lots of work in terms of understanding and perhaps learning from the lessons. We are now equipped with real life experience over the last 4+ years. So what is going well? What is getting projects over the FID line? What are some of the blockers? And really looking at the pipeline of 1,600 and assessing that and seeing the trends. It may be different blockers in different parts of the world. We are definitely seeing a lot of uptick again in places like China, India. There do not seem to be as many blockers. On the other hand, we're seeing a certain, how would I describe this? We're sensing a certain stagnation perhaps in certain parts of the hydrogen value chain in places like Europe and here in the US, some things are moving beautifully and some things are sort of waiting at the line as we discussed. So I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all solution, but really looking at the practical lessons from the last 4 years and applying them and raising awareness of what it is really that's preventing projects from being executed.
Good luck with aligning all those moving parts.
It's like a big puzzle piece, isn't it? A big puzzle. That's
big
right.
Symphony.
That's right. Big symphony. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ivana, for all your insights and your superb analysis.
Thank you. Much appreciate being here. Thanks again for the opportunity.
Thanks for watching, and you can get more comprehensive coverage of the energy industry and more studio interviews at energyconnects.com. I'll be back with more studio interviews from Gastech 2024 in Houston. Stay tuned.